Welcome back to another video. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. I'm back with another question and answer session. It was last weekend when we did the last one, so thank you to all of you who sent in questions. I'm going to get through as many as I possibly can. Here goes. So let's start with a question from Jeff Stevens, and Jeff asks, Chris, do you think Ndombele will come good for us, and what do you think has been going so wrong for him so far? Well, let's go back to the very start of the season. Aston Villa at home when we won 3-1. Ndombele got a debut goal. It all looked fantastic for him, a great start. We have seen lots of glimpses of Tanguy Ndombele, moments of genius, moments of wow. This player is really going to be a player for us in the future. However, I read out some stats a couple of weeks ago, and the amount of times that Ndombele has either come on as a sub or come off as a sub, he has completed 90 minutes very, very few times during the 2019-2020 season. I think he has a huge confidence issue. I think he has a huge fitness issue, and I thought that from very, very early on in the season. I was very, very disappointed in the Brighton away game. Of course, Tottenham lost the game 3-0, a very disappointing day. But Ndombele that day, he actually went off at half-time. He was substituted at half-time, and rightly so. His body language just doesn't seem to be right for me. If it was my choice, and in my opinion, I think that I would actually let Ndombele go at the end of this season. There has been many reports out, on Sky Sports yesterday, all about Barcelona wanting to sign him and give us two players. If Tottenham could get their money back for him, I personally would take it. And I know a lot of people will be shouting at me saying, you're completely wrong. But his body language for me just isn't right. And I just don't feel that he wants to be at the club. If he wants to be at the club and he wants to work very hard under, Jose Mourinho going forward, then all well and good. Me being a Tottenham fan, I will always support every player who puts on that Tottenham shirt. But I've just seen it so many times. I go to every game, home and away, and so many games I've seen that Ndombele is just so disinterested. Our last Premier League away game, Burnley away, exactly the same thing. Looked very disinterested. Didn't look like he wanted to run. Just didn't look like he wanted to be involved in the game. And I tell you what, as a Spurs fan, that does really worry me. When a player puts on that shirt, you want him to try it 100%. You want him to go in for every ball. You want him to come and come and get the ball. But some of the times, Chelsea away, for instance, he was pointing to Toby Alderweireld, one of the other players to pass to him rather than actually receive the ball himself. So when you've got a player who doesn't want to give 100% and doesn't look like he wants to give 100% in his body language, it does worry me. So I think that's what's gone wrong for him this year so far. And I think the English Premier League is so fast, and he's just not used to that speed of football from where he's come from. So please do let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Tanguy Ndombele, would you let him go this summer, or do you think that Jose Mourinho can turn him round to be a fantastic player for us next season? A question here from Rico, and Rico asks, do you see Eric Dyer or Harry Winks possibly becoming Tottenham's captain, as Harry Kane and Hugo Lloris possibly moving out of the club in the following years? Now, personally, I think if Heung Son was still at the club, or even Toby Alderweireld were still at the club, I would personally put one of those two as captain before I would put Harry Winks or Eric Dyer. The captaincy does seem to have been shared around, certainly under the management of Mauricio Pochettino, and even in this short time that Jose Mourinho has been there. But certainly in the next year or so, I can see Hugo Lloris still being our captain, and that would be my choice as well. A question here from David Cox, all the way from Thailand. So thanks for watching in Thailand, David. Hope you're well. David asked, do you think there will ever be a wage cap in the Premier League or football around the world? Sadly, I don't. I think it would be very interesting if that did happen. And I think it would certainly help Tottenham out, because Tottenham never seem to be paying the huge wages that some of the other Premier League clubs or other clubs around Europe pay their players. However, having said that, I think that the next 12 months will be extremely interesting because of the COVID-19 pandemic. I don't think that there will be the money floating around as there normally is. So it'll be very interesting to see how much players are paid, players are offered, new contracts, etc., and certainly transfers. I think there will be very little money about in the next 12 months, certainly. So it really will be interesting to see what transfer business is done between the European clubs and certainly in the English Premier League this summer. A question here from Bjorn, and Bjorn says, if Spurs win a trophy next season, what one do you think it will be? Bjorn, I don't care what trophy it will be, just bring me a trophy. I will take the League Cup, I will take the FA Cup, I will take the Europa League, I will take the Champions League, I will take the Premier League. I will take any one of those domestic or European trophies. As I've said many, many times on this channel, our last domestic trophy, 2008, in that 2-1 win in extra time against Chelsea at Wembley, League Cup, it's far too long. Over 12 years now waiting for a trophy. A club like Tottenham, with the facilities that we've got, the training ground, the fantastic stadium, and now a world-class winning manager, and of course players like Harry Kane and co as well. We do need trophies, and more importantly, the fans, like me, we need trophies. We need those days to celebrate the likes of Hugo Lloris lifting silverware at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. So I will take any trophy that Jose Mourinho wants to deliver. A question here from Del V, and Del asks, would Trippier come back? It sounds like he's joined himself in Madrid. Personally, I don't see Kieran Trippier coming back to Tottenham. He said shortly after he left Spurs for Atletico Madrid that there were problems at the club, and that's why he left. It's a big shame. On the 1st of June, I think we all knew that Trippier was going to be leaving, and it was his last game for Spurs, the Champions League final. The way he went over to the crowd, the way he was in tears, everything said that he was leaving that day. I was quite sad to see Kieran Trippier leaving Tottenham. I know he got a lot of stick from a lot of the Tottenham fans, but every time he put on that Tottenham shirt, I felt that he gave his all. And ultimately, I don't think that we have actually replaced him. We've got Serge Aurier as our first choice right back right now. For me personally, I think that Kieran Trippier was always our first choice right back, and Serge Aurier fitted in and covered where necessary. But do I see Kieran Trippier coming back to Tottenham? I can't see that at all. Certainly under Jose Mourinho, I don't see that he would be that sort of player. And secondly, I don't think that we would be paying the money that Atletico Madrid would probably want back for Trippier. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. We have been linked with lots of right backs, lots of defenders in the last couple of weeks. Thomas Meunier being the latest one, and apparently Jose Mourinho has phoned Thomas Meunier in the last few days, asking him to join Spurs, and he is a free, he's a free agent at the end of this season. So that would fit perfectly well. A good player, a good international, a Belgium international on a free transfer. A question here from Eden, and Eden asks, do you think we're capable of winning the Europa League if we qualify? Yes, I do. Absolutely do. Our last European trophy was in 1984, winning the UEFA Cup against Anderlecht, with Graham Roberts lifting the trophy at White Hart Lane in the second leg. Far too long, in my opinion, for Tottenham winning a European trophy. 1984, it's a very, very long time. But Jose Mourinho would take the Europa League very seriously, I am sure. We saw it a couple of years ago when he was managing Manchester United. He didn't have that great a squad, and he still won the Europa League and the League Cup for Manchester United. So I do think that he would take it very seriously. We've got more than enough quality in our team, the likes of Harry Kane, Heung-min Son, Lloris, Dele Alli, etc., etc. You know, we've got a lot of quality in our team. So you put that team playing Europa League sides, I think that it would be very comfortable. And I think that Tottenham would go very far in that competition. Jose Mourinho has been there. You know, he's won absolutely everything, as we all keep saying. We all expect trophies under Mourinho, but it's another reason why I think that we do need European football, because I think that we've got the manager to go very far in European competition. You know, if all the players are fit, obviously, and, you know, 1 or 2 additions, no matter whether we spend money or they're free transfers, whatever, we do need to refresh the squad in the summer, and I'm sure Mourinho will do that. It would just be very interesting to see if Tottenham do get the Europa League place or the Champions League place if we do play the remaining 9 games. But in answer to your question, yes, I do think that Tottenham would win the Europa League. A question here from Dave Hotspur. Thanks for your question, Dave. Dave asks, could Juan Foyth solve our right-back problem? He plays for Argentina's national side. Surely he should be given a chance at Spurs. This could save us a lot of money. Dave, in my opinion, I just don't think that Juan Foyth is good enough for the club going forward. That's at centre-back or right-back. I've seen him play many times, and personally, I think that he is a liability and has been a liability every time. It's interesting how Juan Foyth come into the team under Jose Mourinho. Mourinho gave him a chance, and I think that he learned a lot about him, and I think that he knows now that Juan Foyth has a lot to learn. Personally, I'm very surprised on how many caps so far Juan Foyth has won for Argentina, but going forward, I just cannot see Juan Foyth being a regular starter for Spurs, certainly in the right-back position, because we're used to our left-back and right-back going down the flanks, putting crosses in, being very, very hard-working. I just cannot see Juan Foyth being that sort of player for Spurs. Forgive me if I've upset a few people by saying that, because, you know, I know from conversations I have with a lot of Tottenham fans, the opinion on Juan Foyth is very, very mixed. But I just cannot see Juan Foyth being, one, a Jose Mourinho type player, and 2, I just cannot see him consistently playing well to be in a top 4 side, which we want to be. And if we're going to be winning trophies, I cannot see how Juan Foyth would fit into that. A question here from Joe Shaw, and Joe asks, will Mourinho take this club forward with the right backing, or will the fans finally tire of the negative tactics? Now, let me just split this question up. Will Jose Mourinho take this club forward with the right backing? First of all, what is the right backing? Is it just to chuck loads of money at Jose Mourinho? I don't think that's going to happen. It was said a couple of months ago that that wasn't going to happen. I think it was said that when Jose Mourinho took the job in November, you know, he wasn't going to get that much money to spend in the summer. Certainly during or after COVID-19, that is going to be almost certain that he's not going to have loads of money to spend. He's now going to have to go out, find free transfers, find cheaper players, perhaps find players on loan, get some players out the door first before he brings players in. Will he take the club forward? I think that Jose Mourinho will deliver for Spurs. I do think that he will deliver a trophy for Tottenham. Is that taking Tottenham forward? Is it taking Tottenham forward by winning an FA Cup or a League Cup? I think the trophies do need to come. I think the fans need the trophies. It's a difficult question, that, because will he take the club forward? In my opinion, Tottenham were Champions League finalists last season, and I know I go on about that a lot, but going forward would have been major investment, and letting Pochettino spend, you know, the vast amount of money that he needed for the rebuild. That obviously hasn't happened. Taking the club forward would have been challenging now for the Premier League. It seems that we've lost a few players, Christian Eriksen, etc. They've gone out the door, and now the rebuild needs to start. However, Jose Mourinho has already said it's not a rebuild we need. He needs to adapt certain players, and I can now see the likes of Eric Dyer, instead of being a midfielder, he will now be a centre-back, and he will probably replace Jan Vertonghen when Jan Vertonghen goes out the door in the summer. But having the right backing, Jose Mourinho is very used to spending a lot of money at every club that he's been at. And this is going to be a very different job for Mourinho, I feel. But will fans finally tire of the negative tactics? If Jose Mourinho delivers Tottenham trophies, I think that some people will kind of put up with the tactical side of things. What people didn't like to see, our last home game, losing on penalties to Norwich City, we were almost parking the bus, against Norwich City, who are bottom of the Premier League. I didn't like to see that. And of course, I didn't like seeing us lose the FA Cup game, because I thought that we would have gone quite far, if not won the competition, because Jose Mourinho always focuses on these types of competitions. But he put Michel Vorm in goal, which was a huge shock decision as well. But will he take the club forward? I'm hoping so. I don't think that there is a better manager out there at the moment. And I think that when you sack a manager like Mauricio Pochettino, who took the club so far, who achieved so much at the club, yes, he didn't win a trophy, but he achieved what the board set out for him every single season. Top 4 finishes, European football, Champions League final. It'll be a very, very interesting next 12 to 24 months to see if Mourinho does deliver, and let's all hope he does, because we desperately need success in the near future. A question here from Chad Mercer, and Chad asked, why do you think Sonny gets no interest from major European clubs? He's world class, yet he's never on any team's transfer radar. Chad, I'm absolutely delighted that he is never on any of their radar. Heung-min Son, I hope that Heung-min Son spends the rest of his playing career at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. He's certainly one of my favourite players, a fantastic player, very, very hard working, fills in very, very well when Harry Kane isn't around, and of course links up with Harry Kane, Dele Alli and co so well. Definitely one of my favourites. But why do you think that he gets no interest from major European clubs? I don't care. I'm absolutely delighted that he don't. And you're right though, he never ever seems to be linked away from Tottenham and linked with any other European clubs. But that is a good thing, and perhaps we shouldn't speak about it anymore, because we don't want to give any European clubs any ideas. A question here from Nicholas Wade, and Nicholas asks, Chris, who is your favourite ever footballer and why? My favourite ever Tottenham player has to be Jurgen Klinsmann. When he signed for the club in the summer of 1994, it was just an absolutely fantastic signing. I was absolutely chuffed, really, really chuffed. He had just played in the World Cup for Germany. They'd just won the World Cup, and he was just amazing. Every time I watched him play for Spurs, he just gave absolutely everything, and it was amazing. Absolutely amazing signing. My favourite current player for Tottenham now has to be Heung-min Son. He's just such a talented player, always scores some vital goals for Tottenham. Love watching Sonny in Champions League football because he's got such a fantastic record for us and always seems to deliver. Look at him against Manchester City last season at the Etihad. Amazing scenes. Amazing. A question here from Jack Coleman via Instagram, so thanks for your question, Jack. He asked if you could bring back one Tottenham legend, who would it be? I would probably have to go for Gareth Bale. Of course, he is still playing, so he could still come back and do a fantastic job. I think with a player like Gareth Bale at Tottenham right now, just think of how many goals he would score, think of how many goals he would set up, think of how fantastic he would be for the likes of Harry Kane, Heung-min Son, how many goals they would score with Gareth Bale in the team. Such a talent, such a fantastic player. Was absolutely amazing at Tottenham, during his playing career. Amazing player. But yeah, if I could bring him back, I think that every single Tottenham fan in the land would be absolutely delighted and would really, really welcome him back. But it's the wages. He's on huge wages. He would cost a lot of money as well. I can't see it happening, but my God, I would love it to happen in the future. A question here from Neil Matthews via email, and Neil asks, Chris, what do you collect? It looks like you collect everything to do with Tottenham Hotspur. Yes, Neil, you've probably noticed in some of the videos I've done, I've had all of those program binders and various folders and boxes behind me. I do collect everything to do with Spurs. Some people think I'm obsessed with Tottenham. Probably am, but it started with collecting programs as a young kid, then went on to collect used tickets from every game. I still do that. The collection goes right back to when Tottenham were very first formed, so got a very good collection of those. I am still missing various programs from reserve games, etc., and missing a lot of used Tottenham tickets from home and away games from the 60s, the 70s, etc. So if anyone's got any of those, please do get in touch with me. I collect team sheets, VIP passes, anything to do with Tottenham. And of course, over the couple of years that I did the stadium updates at White Hart Lane, I picked up some very, very nice memorabilia, some signs, lots of seats which were all together, some seats from the Gary Mabbott Lounge, from VIP, all sorts of stuff which I will never ever get rid of. I also have the flag from the top of the roof at White Hart Lane. So got some very, very nice pieces, but it's great to look back at all of the bits that I've collected with such fond memories. I always remember where I was when I got certain items, and lots of people who I know and people who I don't even know come up to me now and say, Chris, I've got this for you, which is absolutely fantastic because they know that I treasure it. But yeah, got a fantastic collection, one I'm very, very proud of. Please do let me know in the comment section below, what is the weirdest Tottenham piece of memorabilia that you own? How did you get it? Why have you got it? And we all love to collect, but what is your collection, and what do you collect? Thanks for watching today's video, and thank you to everybody who has sent in questions. If I haven't read yours yet, I will get round to it because I will be doing another question and answer session tomorrow. If you would like to ask me any questions, please do put it in the comment section below, and I'll either answer it tomorrow or next weekend. Please do stay safe and well. I'll see you tomorrow. Come on, you Spurs.